that is kind of like near and dear to my heart. So let me go ahead and get into it. I tried to reach out to D, but man, my stuff is not going through on the DMs right now. I like sent a whole like, I don't know, voice chat. But anyways, so as you guys know, I my channel is really focused on goals, motivation, um being a doctoral student, entrepreneur, a professor. I just signed out of class right now, like literally as we speak. And, but I just feel like with everything going on, I'm like, there are some things that I feel like I can touch on that align with my brand. And so, something I wanted to talk about briefly and potentially create a series around this because I'm pretty much done talking, not like done talking about goals, because I'm definitely going to check in with you guys every single week. But I want to talk about what if I get fired and now what? Like, what do you do? Like, where do you go? What do you do? How do you prepare? Hi, thank you for joining. But I just feel like it's a topic that needs to be kind of like some sort of guidance, some sort of at least like roadmap if God forbid this happens to you in like in this moment. So a little bit about myself. I work full time at a community college and I teach early childhood education courses. But in my lifetime, I've been a military kid turned spouse. And so I've had to do a lot of pivots and changes. And I wanted to, as my family always jokes, they're like, anytime that you've, um, you've ended up leaving a position, you always manage to find a job like really, really quickly. And which I consider that like a badge of honor. I do feel like the older I get, maybe I'm a little bit more rusty, but maybe I'm not. But I just wanted to say, like, God forbid if anybody is eliminated from their position, like, what do you do? And this is lived experience as a spouse and also just lived experience among my peers that I know that tried to make career changes and really had a tough time like being able to make those pivots. And so the first thing I would recommend is like assess what your job or career options are around you. If something happens to you and you lose your position, like just assess. Like, what can you do? Probably also take a moment to just kind of take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. Take a pause, whether it's taking the day or taking a week, but you might need to take some time just to kind of process like what's going on. So just like take a moment, pause, so then you can assess what kind of job and what kind of career options are around you and what's available to you. Take a job, taking a job versus like a career move until you can find a new steady like position. What I mean by that is taking a position that you would not ordinarily take. So I think about every time that we moved around with the military, like I always wanted to work with children, but that could be challenging to do because it may not have been accessible to me. So there have been times where I worked in living assistant, worked as a living assistant CNA. Um, for about 2.5, 3 months. It wasn't like a career move. It was just like, I need to work here. I need to be able to earn some income until I can land that better position. And I did it for about 3 months. Another time I've done this is when I worked, there was another moment, I worked in an inpatient program briefly. And so I worked in that inpatient program for about 3 months because we had a major change in life and I just had to make that kind of a pivot. And so, again, until I was able to land a better position that aligned with my career. Third, determine what skills you have and what you may need to increase. Should you look into micro credentials or community college to gain some skills or certificates? At one point, as a military spouse, they were offering us like $6,000 to go back to school or go to school to gain a certificate. And I was actually in the process, like actively. Okay, thank you. I was actively like in a program for medical assistant. I kind of learned in the end that medical assistant and blood and phlebotomy was like not my thing, but I needed to gain a skill. Even though I had my degree in early childhood education, it was just like, I need a skill where it's a job that's not going to go away. And medical field is the field where it's not going to go away. Education is the field where it's not going to go away. Being an attorney, like all these fields that deal with the public and people, those positions typically don't go away. So I decided that I would go to school um, for medical assistant. Also, consider revamping your resume. Think about how you can revamp it, make it better for yourself, and make it more accessible. Consider doing a video resume, which I feel like is kind of cutting edge. People aren't talking about that enough. Um, but it's just something to kind of consider. Also, think about getting on LinkedIn, at least creating an account and then just being able to make some connections to where you could possibly land a position. Another one, do some gig work if you have the time to do it. If there's an opportunity to do gig work, like why not? Just do it. And gig work could be anywhere from like Uber Eats to DoorDash to Instacart to Uber, Lyft, all of these different gig opportunities. Or it could be a gig that you create for yourself. Whatever you want to do, there's a lot of different options that you can consider. Also, think about relocating. Maybe the job market of where you live is not the best market. So consider relocating to a place where the market is much better for you, your family, your spouse, whatever your situation is. Another key takeaway is you'll need to pivot at some point. Yes, it's going to be sad. It's going to be frustrating that you lost your position, but at some point, you're going to have to adjust and adapt and pivot. And this is just a part of life. Also, consider assessing your finances. Um, and now, like, assess your finances. Don't wait to be prepared and then to be shocked. So, you want to make sure that you have your things in order now versus later. You will feel sad and you are going to feel frustrated. You might feel ashamed, you might be angry, but you have to live your life. You're going to have to move on and accept what's going on with you. Now, it might be different to where you might be able to fight for your position, but at least fight it with at least some sort of support, like making sure that you still have income coming in. Um, it's not easy losing a job or having to change careers, but it's just something you definitely want to make sure that you're prepared for by just following these steps that I've provided. So I hope this video is helpful and you all have an amazing day, an amazing night, and a good morning. And I'll catch you guys on the next live. Bye.